Hello, welcome to Womble's Hive. I thought I'd give you all a little video flicking through PleinAirpril for 2024. This is my book. It's a Stillman & Byrne Nova in tan, black hardback ring bound. I thought that might be easiest to use when I were out and about. And some of them are big, some of them are little, depending on how much time I had each day, so I will point out which ones are which. Let me know what you think of each one and which one's your favourite. So here is week 1. Probably one of the nicest days of the entire month was the 1st of April, and I did spend quite some time sat on a very sunny riverbank enjoying it. From there on in, it did get a little cloudy and quite a bit rainy, so some of these pictures have got some really dismal clouds and some really mardy colours in them, so I apologise for that, but you paint what you see when it's PleinAirpril. So this is day 1. This was at Addick near Mexborough. This is outside my workplace for day 2. And here is day 3, which is looking up towards Hoobastand. Here is a little snippet of a plant growing out of a dead tree stump near where I work. Day 5 is again in the car park at work. There's quite a few trees growing up around the edges. And as you can see here, we did get a little bit rained on and it has smooshed the tree branch just a little bit. But hey ho, what can you do? Day 6 is the big one at the bottom, and again if you look really closely there's a couple of raindrops. The rain did catch us out quite often this time. So this was at Wentworth Woodhouse, looking down across the land, and there were the deer, and if you've looked on my Ko-fi you'll get the story of how they kept creeping up on us. And up here is day 7. This is a woodland just outside Elsica. You can actually walk up a path behind these trees, and this is the woodland across the cow field. There's cows in this field, not that you can see them, but they are there. And moving on to week 2. So again, you can see quite a few raindrops have caught us out here. They are on separate days because I do fold the book over as I'm painting. So this is day 1 of week 2, so day 8. Let's stick with the numbering of the month here. So this is day 8. As you can see, it's going to rain on me, and it did. So it's a very dreary colour, but you can see the beautiful bright shoots on the hawthorns just outside the work car park. And it was so rainy on day 9 that I had to actually paint out of the window. So this is out of the window where I work. Straight across the road is a gorgeous cherry tree, and it was in full bloom on the 9th. So I thought, why not get the brightness of those blooms even though it's a horrible dirty day. And moving on to day 10, it's actually this one, just to confuse everybody. It was a lovely calm evening with some beautiful clouds in the sky rushing across, but it wasn't raining, so I thought, go on, we'll get outside and do some real countryside. So this one is again in Wentworth. It's near Needles Eye. Fancied joining in with Sarah Burns for the 11th, and her prompts for this week were flowers, so that's why we've got the flowers. These are outside my workplace's front door. Quite an interesting thing to paint, to be honest, white flowers. There's actually quite a lot of colours in there. Feel free to jump over onto the Insta if you want to be able to zoom in. So that was day 11. Day 12 is out of the front of my building at work. Again, you can see the little cherry tree that we drew last week just out there. But this tree was also in bloom, so I thought it'd be interesting to get it along with the muted tones in the background of Sheffield. And day 13 is Manvers Lake. This is actually the boathouse in the background here. And I had to hide under a copse of trees and behind what you can see here, reeds to stay dry because it was raining for the whole painting. And then, needless to say, 20 minutes later, as we got round the other side of the lake, it was completely dry and sunny. So that's British weather for you. And here we had one of the other lovely days of April. The 14th was absolutely beautiful. As you can see there, lovely sunset on a riverbank near Mexborough. It's actually the same river as day 1, but in the opposite direction, heading towards Doncaster. So here's week 3. Again, lots of different shapes. Depends what I'm feeling like as to what shape I'm going to paint, but I knew I didn't have much time on the 15th and 16th, so we got some small ones. This is out of my work window, so as I look out of the window, that is what I see. Just the edge of the little cherry tree, but out over the woodlands in Sheffield. And again, here we have the car park. So the previous car park one was this little bit of the hedgerow, and as you can see here, there's a lot of the hawthorns, and I thought it'd be interesting to get the electricity pylon in the picture just to see what that was like. I was quite pleased with myself because I managed to do it quite slimline rather than heavy-handed, which is what I usually do. So even though it's a bit of a dull painting, I am quite pleased with it. And moving on to day 17, this is a lake near Cortonwood. It was quite late on, so the colours are fairly muted, but there's loads of ducks and geese and a pair of swans living on this lake, and it was just so peaceful with all the birds tweeting. If you want to find out how peaceful, pop over to my YouTube. You'll be able to hear that along with the dog squeaking. I apologise, but that is the way that my plein air with the dog goes. And this is my back garden, and as you can see here, when it starts raining I get heavy-handed about the pylon, but I am quite pleased with this one because I have managed to do the dusk colours quite well. So the sky was quite bright, but everything below the skyline was dull and dim because the sun had actually gone behind the horizon. So I've used a lot of blues and purples just to darken off everything in the foreground there, so I'm quite happy with that. The 19th again was at work, and I absolutely love silver birch trees, and there's one beautiful silver birch at work. I absolutely love this tree, and it's usually covered in magpies, though not on this day. And here we've got another vista of Elsica. This is a woodland on the way to Elsica from my house. As you can see, it's been raining. It's rained most of April, which was a pain, but hey ho. And all of the tyre tracks by the tractors are actually filled with water, so I tried to capture that without making it too bright because it was quite dull, but you could see the water, so hopefully that's worked out. This is the Bluebell Wood near my house. I chose a spot where the sun was coming through and sparking off the grasses and the bluebells, and I'm quite pleased with how this went because I've managed to keep some nice brightness in this area. I'm pretty happy with that one. It was a beautiful day as well, absolutely gorgeous. And I only got bit 4 times that day. Week 4, and I promised myself to do human installations, so buildings, houses, monuments, whatever, so long as it was built by a human, I had to have it in the picture. So that's what's happened this week. So these are 2 shots for the 22nd and 23rd of the warehouses as you look down rather than up from my workplace, because we're on a hill. So these are some Hillsborough warehouses. This one I'm particularly jealous of. They've got themselves a little veranda and a little chair and table set up for their lunch breaks. And this one is one of the monuments over at Wentworth Woodhouse. It's absolutely beautiful. It's called a Doric Lodge, and somebody who actually pulled in as I was painting gets to live in that. How jealous are we? This is one of the doors to my workplace. Literally sat in the car park. At one point there was a post van in front of it, which I had to imagine what was behind it while he unloaded, but I feel like I've done fairly well. I didn't want to go into every brick and every detail, so I just tried to do it a little bit hasty. And this is my window. And we've gone out to Elsica for the Friday and Saturday views. This is in Elsica Park. Actually, I'm lying to you, this one's Wentworth. So this is in Elsica Park, and you can see this beautiful white gateway as you walk into the park itself. And I just thought it was lovely to have that brightness with the dark sky that was coming to rain on me. This is on the road out of Wentworth Village. I don't know why, I think it was the white windows that just caught my eye. It was a bit of a grey dull day, and obviously I've picked a grey dull house, but the bright white windows just seemed to catch my eye, so that's why I chose that one. And this one is the beautiful Doric Temple at Wentworth Woodhouse. You can get a couple of vistas of this, but you can't actually go right up to it. As you can see, there's a bit of a fence in the way. But it's absolutely stunning, and you're always looking up at it, so you always get the beautiful sky and the clouds in the background of it. So I just thought I had to paint it. The sun was beaming down on it. It was absolutely lovely, and as Puppa and I were sat there, all of the rooks came home to roost. It was absolutely wonderful. And for the last 2 days, because I can't be having half a page, we've done a couple of larger ones. So I thought, go on, we'll have a nighttime scene, see how it goes. And I was quite pleased with it while I was out and about, but when I got back in the actual light, it turns out that I've gone very dark and very light. So I've gone a little bit OTT on the brightness coming from these street lamps, and incredibly dark on the buildings behind. But it was dark, in my defence, and I'm quite pleased with how it turned out, considering I couldn't see very well. For the last day, this is mine and the Puppa's sitting spot, looking out towards Hoobastand. It's on the edge of West Melton, so if you see somebody in a hat with a squeaky dog, it's probably me. And it was absolutely gorgeous evening, super sunny. We were sat in the sun for the most of this painting. It was shining down on the farms and the farmland in front of us, and I thought, go on, we'll paint that. What I didn't think about was how many bugs were going to come out, because it was nice and warm. And on this occasion, I found out later that evening I was bit 37 times. Note to self: always put on the bug cream before you go out, always, especially when it's sunset. But I had such a great time painting this that I'm only slightly regretful about the bug cream. It was a wonderful evening with the dog and the birds singing. It was absolutely peaceful, such a lovely night, and I feel quite proud of the painting that I made for the last day. So all in all, I think that went well. And just in case you can't tell looking at them, I did manage to complete the challenge I gave myself, and I completed the whole month in gouache, which is another thing I'm proud of, because I've only recently learnt it, and I think I've managed to get some decent images, even though some of them were a bit rushed. Some of these pictures took 30 minutes, some took 45, and the occasional one took an hour. But yeah, I'm quite proud of how it went. I will definitely be carrying on. I've got all this book to fill, and it's my gouache book, so I've got to get out there doing it. The things I'm going to learn are trying to get out a little bit earlier, because as you're out at dusk, you'll have noticed a lot of these are at sunset. The light changes so quickly that it's difficult to capture, but the days are getting longer, so that will not be too difficult. Don't paint at night, even though it's an interesting picture. It's not a great one. And I think of the paintings that I've done, would you believe, I'm torn between this one being my favourite and day one. Now, day one, I'm quite proud of how I've managed to do all of this. And how I've managed to highlight the silver birch in the foreground, but also get enough interest in the background to show where the light was landing. But this is just such a gorgeous set of colours, and it was a lovely evening, and we were totally peaceful. Nobody bothered us. It was just me, Boo, and the birds. So I'm feeling like it might be this one. But do let me know which one's your favourite. I'm very interested. I hope you've enjoyed this little video. A little flick through of the art that I've created during PleinAirpril 2024. Feel free to nip through slowly. Pick out your favourite and let me know in the comments below. If you want a little story about each one, jump over onto my Ko-fi, where I've done a blog each day. And if you just want to look at the pictures individually closer up, nip on over to the Instagram, where you'll be able to see each one and zoom in with the pinch fingers. I hope you've enjoyed it. I'll bring you more when I've got more to show you. Find something that makes you smile. And as always, guys, be happy.